If you guys would, if you don't mind, make sure you sign in for those on here tonight on the chat box so I can make sure to give you your points. So, all right, we're in week 7. Hard to believe. Already nearing the end of this course. So, I wanted to spend a little time this evening going back, reviewing the parts of the CBM quickly. Make sure everyone has a good understanding of the 2 new additional areas within the report, and then also um, show you the graph that I went over last week on how to display your data points. And then after we do that, I want to go ahead and jump over to and talk about the mock IEP. If you remember, next week is short, so the CBM report will be due this Sunday evening on or before midnight. And then we'll turn around and your mock IEP will be due by 4 o'clock on that Wednesday. So week 8 is short. Remember that. I mentioned it early on in the class as well. Be the only assignment that's not due on Sunday evening will be that final, and it's going to be due on Wednesday next week. So our normal time to meet on Zoom is Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Next week we won't meet due to your final already being due at 4. So we won't have a Zoom meeting next week, even though it listed in the grade book. I'll go in and give everybody points for that week for week 8 because it's already listed in the grade book. Okay, so I'll automatically add those in. All right, I want to go back quickly, review the report template, talk about the sections, make sure everyone has a clear understanding of what we're looking for. So this is a CBM report. First section is identifying information. You are used to doing that. We've been doing it. So you'll list the type of probe you gave, the purpose of giving it, and then also list the dates that it was administered. Okay, so you can see here in this example, they listed multiple dates that they gave the probe. A little bit of information about your student. Remember, if you are using the same case study student for the CBM assessment as you did for the norm and the informal, you can literally use the same background information and include it in this section here for identifying information. No need to reinvent the wheel on that. Okay. The next section of the report is the first of 2 new sections that we're going to include in our assessment report, and it is the probe and intervention development. Here we're going to talk a little bit about the type of probe that you selected, a little bit about its purpose, what it is designed to do for the student, what data and information it collects. Okay. You're also going to talk a little bit about the intervention that you used if that student needed an intervention, and you would be able to determine that by the data points that you got. So essentially, each time you gave the probe, did the scores gradually increase, or did you administer it and then you saw some declines in the score? That is where you would implement the intervention. So here's where you talk a little bit about it. If no intervention was needed, you need to simply state, due to the scores within the probe administrations, due to the continuous increase of the scores, no intervention was needed to implement with the student. Okay, something as simple as that. The next section, you've already done this before, nothing new here. Test results and interpretation section. This is where you're going to explain a little bit about the results or the scores data that you got from the probe administrations. Talk a little bit about that. We're going to provide a chart here that shows the raw data as they did. You can see this particular student gave 6 scores here, or 6 probe scores in the raw data, showed exactly what the scores were. Okay, and then they give a description of it. Here is where the new chart is that I talked a little bit about last week. Please make sure you include this, showing your data points, and I mentioned this is your intervention line. Okay, so our areas of that would be the baseline scores, intervention line, and then the orange again is our aim line, the trajectory that you anticipate your data points to fall in. Okay, or that you hope they will fall in. If, again, I'm going to repeat this from last week, you can see an intervention was done here. If you have some additional declines over in the additional data probe administrations, you may have to put a second intervention line in. Okay? If you're seeing multiple intervention lines, that's a quick tell that the data or the material that you're presenting in the probes are well above the student's ability level. So it tells you need to drop that down. Okay. So we hope we don't see an intervention line and we see continuous increase of our data points here. Okay, is what we hope to see. All right. Again, remember to add this visual in and plot your data points. Our goal is to have minimum 4 to 6, between 4 and 6 data points. Few more on this particular report, but again, it was pulled from when the course was still a full 16-week course. So obviously we had a few more data points, okay? For us, between 4 and 6. Baseline, intervention, aim line. Okay, so remember those. Okay, you'll drop down and talk about recommendation and conclusion. Any recommendations that you want to make based on the data that you collected from the probe administration, and then kind of conclude on your findings. The second new section, remember we had the probe and intervention section. The second new section that we're adding in this particular report that we haven't had on our previous reports will be the reflection section. Okay, so you're just going to reflect on what you learned. Make sure you include three things that you learned from administering CBMs. Also talk about would or would you not use CBM again and why. Again, those are open-ended. Okay, it's based on your personal feeling after your experiences of using CBM. There's no right or wrong on that, simply your personal reflection. Okay, would you use it again or not? All right. Make sure you include your permission form, okay, from the student, and that is all you will need to submit. You do not need to submit a copy of the CBM probe that you used, or probes, okay? So remember that, okay? Again, baseline, intervention, aim line, 2 new sections, probe and intervention, and reflection. Any question on that? I just wanted to do a quick review before I get over and start talking about the mock IEP. Any questions before I do a stop screen share on that? Okay. I'm going to pull up quickly the course syllabus because this is usually the page I pull to suggest it uses a guideline. Let me get down to where I want to go. It's going to be on page. Bear with me just a second. I'm almost there. Okay. All right. So, information for the mock IEP actually starts on page 29 in the syllabus. So I want to spend some time on this. Can everyone see this after I switched over to another screen? Is everyone tell me yay or nay? I got my screen minimized. Can everyone see it?
Yes, we can see
Okay.
it.
All right. Thank you. I just want to make sure sometimes when I switch screens, it won't show on your end. Okay. So, first of all, the video. In order to cover this effectively, the information I'm getting ready to show you, it usually is between 10 and 15 minutes long to get them all in, all the points, all the information that we're asking you to put in this mock IEP, okay? Suggested time is 10 to 15 minutes, all right? During this meeting, we want to make sure that we state the purpose of the meeting. Basically, you have done some assessment screenings to gather some data. Purpose of the meeting is for you to go over the results, share it with the team, and determine whether you need to move forward with formalized testing to determine qualifications for special services. During the meeting, you're going to introduce the team. So here's the guideline right here, page 29, bottom part of page 29 that I suggest that you use to follow when you're doing your IEP. A lot of times I'll tell them, hey, print you a hard copy, kind of keep it beside you, to just kind of follow down through it as you are actually conducting that meeting. So the very first thing you do is you want to do an introduction to the meeting. We want to introduce our team members. Even though you're not showing me on the video who they are, I know this is a mock meeting. It's to try to get you in the habit of identifying your team members. So you kind of go around and say, I want to quickly introduce our building level principal, special education director, regular classroom teacher, and then parents, thank you for coming, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. And then go in and state the purpose of the meeting. Purpose of this meeting is for me to share data with you, based on a series of assessments that I've been administering to collect data to determine whether we need to move forward and initiate testing to determine whether Johnny qualifies for special services. Then you'll go in and state the assessments. I gave a series of informal assessments. The first informal assessment I gave was a math facts fluency assessment, quick snapshot view, Johnny's ability when it comes to math facts fluency. The second informal assessment, and then state what it was. And then the third one, and then go right down and explain your data, present levels of performance, how they did on each assessment. And you're going to do that for the informal, the norm reference, and the CBM. Okay. Within this, as you're doing it, we need to make sure that you are visibly showing or sharing the data. You've already put the data into visual representations using charts, tables, and graphs. Okay. So there's multiple ways to do this mock IEP. You can create slide decks for each of these items here, the introduction, and put on your introduction slide who your team members are. The next slide, you can go in and put purpose of the meeting. Next slide, you can do statement of all, or state all the assessments and why they were used, and then create slides explaining the performance. When we get down to present evidence of student performance in the format of tables, graphs, and student work, you can do this on again, creating a slide deck and doing a screen share as you're recording, just like I'm doing right now for this class. So you're presenting the information, you're doing a screen share, you're recording it, and I will see a thumbnail shot of you up here in the corner. Okay. If you don't feel as comfortable using technology and creating that slide deck, you can follow this outline, have it laid beside you, and when it comes to the point where you are asked to present student performance, you can literally have hard copies of the tables, charts, and graphs that you made in your assessment reports. Hold them up as you are conducting the meeting and point to the data and the information that you're explaining, just like I'm doing right now. You can see me holding up a sheet of paper as if it had the chart or table on it, and I'm pointing to the data as I am talking through and explaining that to the parent. Either way is acceptable. You want to do the slide deck screen share? That's fine. If you don't feel as comfortable and confident doing that, you can hold it up just like this for your table, charts, and graphs. Okay? Again, either way is fine. Okay? After you go over the data, you want to make sure that you highlight or identify what you have determined to be 3 strengths of the student based on your assessments. They could be 2 strengths you identified from the informal, 1 from norm reference, 1 from each. You can mix it up however you want to do it. Just make sure you identify what you have determined to be 3 strengths of the student. The next thing you'll want to do is identify and share with the group what you've identified to be student weaknesses or areas in need of improvement. Okay, you want to be very specific. Make sure you have 3 of them so the team is aware of it. The next two items are going to be identifying and developing what we call SMART goals. Okay, specific, measurable goals. Okay, so we're going to have two goals that are what we call short term, and we're going to have two that we consider to be long term. For the purpose of this class, purpose of this assignment, we're going to go under the premise that short term would be over a period of 9 weeks. Okay, something that you're going to set between now, this meeting, and what you would hope to see the student achieve or accomplish within 9 weeks. We're going to call that our short term goals. For our long term, we're going to go on the premise that it would be a year from the date of the meeting that you're conducting. Two long term goals. You're going to set two goals that you hope to see this student achieve in 1 year when you can come back to the table, review their progress, and give an update on how they're doing. Okay. So remember, short term, 9 weeks. Long term, we're going to go under the premise 1 year from the day of the meeting. Okay. One of the last items as you are starting to wrap up your meeting is discuss or talk about ways that you, as the SPED teacher, expect or would encourage parents, family members, guardians to help support those goals that you set and ways, recommendations, suggestions you can give them to help accomplish. What can they do on their end at home as mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever the guardian is, something they can do at home to reinforce what you're doing in the class. Therefore, both home and school is working toward the short-term and long-term goals. An example could be something as simple as sitting down 4 to 5 nights a week for a minimum of 15 minutes and reading with your child. The parent read a paragraph, the child read a paragraph. Parent asks the child some questions about what they read to check their comprehension. It could be something that simple. Okay? And then in conclusion, thank the team members for their time and their support in understanding the information you presented. And you look forward to working together with them as a team in the best interest of Johnny or Susie and coming back and reviewing to see if they made adequate progress. And then conclude the meeting. Thank you for coming. We'll be in touch soon. Something as simple as that. Okay? This information here, if you follow this format and have everything laid out, we're looking for the flow of the meeting. Okay? That's one of the main things that I'm looking for on this video. You've already done the data collection. You've already written your reports, shown me that you can take the data, put it in a visual representation, a table, chart, and graph. Now you're going back and show me you can explain and present that data to the team, to parents, in a manner that they can understand. All right. Again, we're looking for the flow of the meeting, presentation skills. Are you confident doing this? Again, I mentioned, I think at the beginning of this course, this particular assignment, we're trying to get you in the practice of conducting a meeting in which you can present that you understand the information, you can explain data, and also it's very important. I've always said this as a building administrator walking in, that you're organized and confident in what you're doing, especially the organization. There's nothing worse than walking into an IEP meeting and your teacher is not organized for this meeting and they're constantly thumbing around, scrambling around, looking for their paperwork and trying to get the information. And the $1,000,000 question is to you is how would you feel if you were that child's parent sitting across the table and seeing that teacher that's supposed to be helping their child in that special education classroom in this meeting, and they're showing you that they're very unorganized and not prepared. Okay, so I always say it's very important to make sure you're prepared and organized and you present the information in a confident manner. Okay, it helps build trust and win those parents over and get them on your side. Again, here on presentation, we're looking for you to make sure you present the information in a clear, easy to understand manner. Also, right before you conclude, as you're wrapping up, ask them, does anyone, any team member here have any questions or any input that they want to offer before we dismiss? So just make sure you provide that opportunity or even ask them as you're explaining the data. Okay. So provide that opportunity. And then again, as I just mentioned, we're looking to see if you can present the information in a confident manner that's easy to understand. Okay. Again, this section here, I would strongly encourage you to use it as your guide as you are getting your information together. Again, you can create slide decks like PowerPoint slide decks, do a screen share and have those each slide guide you. That's perfectly acceptable. You don't feel good with technology and you need to hold up, especially your tables, charts, and graphs and use this, that's acceptable. Okay, just want to make sure everyone understands that. All right. Again, it should take you between 10 and 15 minutes to do that. All right. Remember, guys, the CBM is due Sunday evening at midnight. This mock IEP video is due on Wednesday on or before 4 o'clock. If something comes up and you're having some challenges and you see you're not going to make that 4 o'clock deadline, please email me and let me know. All right. Please let me know in advance as much as possible. We have the cutoff for this class on Wednesday because it takes quite a bit of time to go in and review the videos, score it, and then I have to have the grades in by that following Monday at noon. So that's why we cut this final off on Wednesday. It gives us plenty of time to review the videos. All right. Is there any questions on that? As I mentioned, I wanted to spend the first part reviewing the CBM, and then I wanted to go over and show you this and talk through the mock IEP.
I have a question. It's kind of just for myself. My webcam doesn't work. So are you okay if I like do my Zoom like you and it just says Jared Dittmer and you just hear my voice the whole way through it? Or do I need to somehow find a different
Would
computer
really,
before that?
if you can, Jared, would really like to see, again, because we're looking to see how confident you present the
That's what I
information.
thought. Yeah, that's what I
And
thought, sir.
if you can, yeah, I really would need to see you on that. I don't
Okay.
know if you have, if your school has some extra devices like a Chromebook, you can actually do it off a Chromebook. As
Okay.
long as it's, most of them have a webcam, or if you have a device you can borrow from school for the purpose of doing it.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. You bet. Any other questions? Again, guys, there's no really need to be nervous on this. I've had some students in the past, they go into panic mode and really it's just you talking through this. Really no one else is around. You're just acting like someone's in the room with you, a team is there, and you're just talking through the information and presenting it, sharing it that you've already gathered. You've already done all of it, okay, in your reports. Any questions? It's like crickets on here, man. Everybody's quiet tonight. Jesse, are you good?
Well, last week I joined the wrong Zoom link, and so I
Uh-oh.
was panicking about why we didn't have class. And I saw on YouTube, so I'm glad I'm here tonight. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
I'm good.
Everything good on that as far as
Yep,
the CBM and then how to kind of go about doing this?
yep.
I always recommend, and it's not a have to, you don't have to, but I always recommend Zoom because most everyone's familiar with using Zoom due to our Blackboard, these meeting sessions. If you have another platform that you feel very comfortable with and you prefer to do it, that's fine. No one has to use Zoom. I always just throw it out there because everyone's pretty much used to using it. So one thing I will tell you guys, just kind of a helpful tidbit. I don't know how comfortable and confident you are technology wise. Something I always mention to the groups is sometimes when you download these Zoom videos, I always recommend to students that they go in and take the video and upload it into their a YouTube using your Fort Hayes Gmail account. YouTube's on there. You can upload that Zoom video file into it. Basically, it will compress it the size of that file. Okay. Sometimes those Zoom video files are larger. It will compress it, condense it down. You go through the steps, and then it creates a link for that video, and you just literally copy and paste the link over in the submission box, and that's what you submit. You'll just need to make sure that I'm going to minimize my screen again to kind of show you real quick if I still have it open. Let me get my Fort Hayes if I can pop it up here. Oh, I'm going to minimize my screen quickly. Or find it here. I had it open a while ago. So I'm kind of show you. Has everyone used YouTube to make a video or create a video link? Has everyone, Rebecca, have you done that? See, Jesse, have you done it, Rebecca? Okay, so you pretty much know then. Yeah, the only thing you guys will need to do then, if you feel most of you have done it, is make sure that you make that public and not private. If you leave it in private and send me the link, I won't be able to view it. Okay? Just make sure it's public where I have access to it to view it. Literally, you can just copy the link that it creates, copy and then paste it in the Blackboard where it says submit mock IEP, and just drop that in there. That's all you got to do. Okay. Any other questions regarding the mock IEP? Remember, guys, it's going to be a quick turnaround from Sunday. If you are nearing the completion of your CBM report, you want to submit that. I'm looking to check to see if anyone's submitting early. If it's there, I'll score it, get it back to you so you can go ahead and start working on doing that video. That way it won't be such a short window of time if you submit it Sunday night and try to get it done. Okay. So if you do submit early, I'll score it and get it back to you. All right. Any questions before we go? I won't keep you much longer. I just want to go over those things. Man, everybody's just quiet. Week hadn't been that bad already, has it?
It's
No?
been a long week.
Long week already, so everyone's ready for fall break. You guys get a fall break in Kansas, and you guys do that?
I don't get one.
You don't get one? No? You guys don't do fall breaks?
Yeah, it's called parent teacher conferences.
Well, we had that last week, so we have a fall break coming up that's right after the end of the first 9 weeks. So basically, we'll have Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday. So we have like a 5 day gap in there. So all the schools here in Oklahoma pretty much do it. So yeah, at the same time. So it's kind of nice. Gives you that little break ending the first quarter before you start that second quarter. So yeah, little decompression time.
Yeah, we don't get a break until Thanksgiving.
Yeah. See, and then we'll have one in Thanksgiving and then turn around Christmas. And yeah, it's a good way to kind of break it up. So anyway. Okay, guys, if there's not any other questions, I'll go ahead and let you go. If you think of something after we get off here, please email and get back to you and answer your question. Okay? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.